Today I'm going to review this Matchbox Blue Highways 3 set of 5 cars purchased for me by my wife when she went to Dubai on a business trip. As you can see, it's quite a large set. In fact, if I put it like that, it gets obscured, so which is why I'm keeping it like this. So without any further ado, let's open it. But before that, Matchbox 70-year celebration, designed for a lifetime. Well, that is true. I mean, I do have Matchbox cars from my childhood which have been played with, massacred, and various things have been done to them, and they're still around. So I'm not sure how to open this, so I'm going in at it from the side, which seems like, yeah, I think that's probably the way to go about it. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think that is the way to go about it. That way you don't hurt the packaging too much. I know there'll be people having heart attacks at this. There we are. The 5 cars in a sort of blister pack. So let's see. Let's start with this one, which is a Polaris slingshot. Yes, if you look at the bottom, we can see it in fact says as such. Now the Polaris slingshot is interesting because it's actually a 3-wheeler in what's known as the tadpole configuration, where you have 2 wheels at the front, 1 wheel at the rear, and if I'm not mistaken, the front wheels on the real thing, of course, the front wheels steer like they do on a normal 4-wheeled car, and the single rear wheel, which is usually a much wider tire, this model is not showing that, would do the driving duties. I could be wrong because I'm just stating all this based on what I can remember reading about the slingshot. I might be wrong, but I do know for a fact that the front wheels do the steering, because if you had rear wheel steering in a tadpole configuration 3-wheeler, that would make it incredibly unstable. You can see the open cockpit has been nicely picked out there. We've got a bit of the steering wheel. I'm just going to get the pack out of the way because the camera seems to be focusing on that. Okay, yeah, I've got a bit of interior detail there, not too much. The Polaris logo. Paint job could be better, but I guess it's reasonable given that this is a mid-range sort of pack. Let's put the slingshot away. Next, what we have here is, what is this? Can anyone tell me what it is? Well, of course you can't tell me since this is a video and it's a one-way thing, so I'll tell you what it is. It's a Dodge Viper. Specifically, the RT10. I believe these are the earlier Vipers which have the side exit exhaust pipes. The Viper was known to have the largest displacement engine in a production car at the time. I think in the early 1990s. It was an 8-litre V10, truck-derived engine, of course. As time passed, it graduated to an 8.4-litre unit, and the Viper is known to be one of the more difficult sports cars to drive because its early ones didn't even have traction control. I guess it's a good thing we don't have any in Sri Lanka, because usually cars like this go into the hands of people who don't always know how to control them. So yeah, fairly decent detail. This one is in the silver and black paint scheme rather than the more iconic blue with white stripes. We can see very basic cabin detail there, not a lot. The slingshot actually had a bit more picked out in the cabin. If you have a look there, you have some things picked out in dark grey, whereas the Viper's cabin is all black. That's okay, we'll just put it aside there for now and move on to the next model. What is this? It's an off-roader. Well, yes, of course it's an off-roader. More specifically, it's an International Scout 4x4. International, one of those American off-roader and I believe commercial vehicle makers that is, I'm not sure if it's still around or not, but I do know that even if it is around, they don't make off-roaders anymore. Now this one is of course a bit modified. As you'll see, it's got massive wheels, it's clearly got a lift on it, and you can see that it's a 2012 casting. That's most interesting. Of course, the front, we see the headlights and things are molded in but not painted. Interior, once again, like the Viper, is a fairly Spartan affair in just plain black plastic. Spare wheel is the same, but interestingly we have the tail lamps picked out here in red paint. That's nice. And we also do have some text. Scout is there, and let me just look at this close to my eyes. It says, yes, it just about says International over there, so that's nice. Let's go for the 4th model, which is the Mazda Miata MX-5. Now the Miata MX-5 is known to be one of the best affordable sports cars in the world because of its very entry level pricing, and of course the Miata is not a powerhouse car, but it's a fairly decent rear wheel drive car. I've driven one briefly, and a lot of people say that the Miata is a great car to learn the basics of performance driving in, because it has just the right amount of power. It's got a rear wheel drive layout. So this is probably the best model of the kit so far, because we can see that you've actually got the tail lamps and everything picked out in different shades of paint. You've got some nice shiny chrome wheels there. Interior, once again, yeah, it's a plain black molded affair, but hey, at least we have separately picked out headlights and turn indicators there, as well as the Mazda shield, of course. Yep, let me just take things a bit closer and see if I can get this camera to focus. I'm not sure why the focus is playing up today. Yeah, apologies for that. Something seems to have gone wrong in the software I use, but okay, I think this is a comfortable level to look at the car. So yeah, so far the best one, but we have one more model to look at. Will that one trump the Miata? Let's find out. So this would be a 69 Camaro SS 396, which means it has a huge 396 cubic inch. I think that's about 6.5 liter V8 engine. You can see this one has the headlights picked out in black, but not painted as such, except for some little dots there just to give it a bit of a slight reflection effect. The body is metal, but these elements are plastic. You've got a very nice gold and white paint scheme. Fairly basic interior once again, plain black, no detail, but things like the seat fabric and even the little crumples on the convertible hood have been molded in the plastic, so that's nice. Tail lamps, no tail lamp detail there apart from just the molding. So yeah, the Camaro is not as well detailed as the Miata. So I would say probably, let's look at the wiper again. Yeah, I think this is probably, in terms of detail, the least, because neither of its lights are picked out and nothing much else is picked out, and this is the best detailed of them. The other three are in varying states of having their detail picked out. I mean, the Polaris has separately fitted headlamps, it's got two tones inside the cabin, but there's nothing really picked out at the rear. The Scout, nothing picked out at the front, quite a bit done at the rear. And the Viper, well, the Viper, you've got just plain black headlamps, picked out tail lamps, and an average level of detail. So these are the 5 cars. Let's just arrange them there. Oh, the Camaro is quite a nice free roller. Let's get the focus back. There we go. So the Polaris, very free rolling, quite decent. Camaro, I barely had to nudge it to move it. The Miata, little less free rolling but still moves. The Scout, well, the bigger wheels mean it gets a lot more momentum when you give it a good push. The Viper, yeah, that's probably the stiffest of them all. Let's bring them back into shot. So there you are. 5 cars from this Matchbox Blue Highways 3 pack reviewed. Hope you enjoyed this review, and if you want to check out more model car reviews, do have a look at the playlist on this channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. Have a nice day.